this is something that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do, and to not try and do it is be a waste of a lot, right? To start a business on your own is very hard. To take over a business is very hard, but at least you have somebody to show you the ropes and show you the mistakes that were made so you don't make the same mistakes.
Welcome to the Roll Up and Roll Out podcast. Sit down with blue-collar business owners and inspired entrepreneurs to get the industry insights from the leaders that grow our local communities and learn how to scale your business. Regardless of GED, these people know how to GSD. Here is your host, Paul Childers. Let's get to work.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Roll Up and Roll Out, where I am interviewing blue-collar business owners who may or may not have their GED, but every single one of them knows how to GSD, get shit done. Today, we've got Demetri Sideropoulos with Deli Plumbing and Heating. Demetri, thank you for taking time out of your day to join on this podcast. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background, man.
Thanks for having me. Demetri Sideropoulos, Vice President, Deli Plumbing and Heating. Delphi for the rest of the industry, that's for short. We're based out of Brooklyn, New York. Been in business since 1980. My father started the business in 1980. I've been in the business my whole life. Started sweeping floors, did my apprenticeship, graduated the apprenticeship, was a journeyman plumber, foreman, project manager, and now I've been in this capacity for the past 10 years or so. We are a union shop. We primarily do wastewater treatment work and for the New York City DEP. We do other work for other New York City municipalities, but most of our work is public work.
Okay. So, tell me a little bit about that. You've got, your dad started the company. You grew up in the company. At what point in your kind of upbringing did you decide that you wanted to work for your dad? Because I know some guys, some kids, they go and they'll get some experience outside of their parents' company, or their parents will even force them to go work somewhere else before they come work for them. At what point for you was it that you're like, yep, this is what I want to do?
So if I was not in school, I was working for a company, right? And because I was doing that from a very young age, by the time I came of age to decide what I wanted to do, it was kind of old and boring. And I guess I was naive in the opportunity that was there, because nobody is going to teach you, train you, make sure you're doing the right thing, be hard on you in the right ways, like your family, especially, your father. So I did the college path. I finally graduated. I could have been a lawyer by the time I graduated. And while I was in my second college, I did my apprenticeship and came out, still was on the fence. What clicked was, this is something that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do, and to not try and do it is be a waste of a lot, right? To start a business on your own is very hard. To take over a business is very hard, but at least you have somebody to show you the ropes and show you the mistakes that were made so you don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You made a really good point there. And you've probably noticed this as well in the current economy. There's a lot of guys that are probably, similar to your dad, started companies, ran them well, that are looking to retire and get out. And for whatever reason, at least some of them that I've come across recently, like their kids have literally nothing to do with them and want nothing to do with the business, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me, that you could see a successful business like that and decide like, nah, that ain't for me. But that's something that's happening. So if you had a choice and you're doing this and you were, starting off on your own again, would you look at, starting on your own, or would you, maybe not knowing what you know now, but also a little bit knowing what you know now, like buy somebody else's business that was already cash flowing?
So if the business is cash flowing, it doesn't mean it's profitable, right? So you would have to look at that first. as long as the book of business is good, right? I'm assuming, let's stick with service business, right? They have a good group of clients and all that. As long as there's procedures there and there's an infrastructure there, and the name is good, that's the easier route, right? It's going to cost you more upfront, but you might save 5 years, 10 years of work to get to that same level.
Yeah.
If I was buying into something or being asked to join somebody else, I would probably go on my own because the only one that could tell me what to do is my dad. So, and he's my boss and my dad.
Yeah. It's a different dynamic.
Definitely.
So, because a lot of guys, don't have that opportunity or haven't had that opportunity to kind of run a business with their parent, tell me a little bit about that dynamic, some of the things that you've really enjoyed about it. And then, also some of the things that, maybe frustrate you about it as well that come about from it. But I mean, it seems like overall the opportunity and your guys' situation has been a very positive one.
Yes. So number one is you have to separate work and family, right? Work and home. The way we do it, and we still do it, is we're on separate floors of the office, which is even better. So we only interact when we have to interact, which is often enough, right? As far as problems with it, I mean, you're coming up, you're young, you have a lot of ideas. You approach the new ideas, bringing the new ideas forward in the wrong way, right? So this business has been around 4 years. I'm coming in for 5 years and I'm trying to think like I know everything, which I definitely don't, right? So instead of asking the question in the right way of, have you seen this problem before? Do you think this would work? What is your opinion on it? It's, hey, I want to do this way. This is what's going to happen. And of course, there's going to be pushback to that, right? So working with somebody with more experience than you, and especially your family, you have to approach it in the right way. You got to be humble about how you approach it. You got to talk. Not that he's your dad, but you gotta talk with that. You have the more wisdom than me about this situation. So let me try and pick that wisdom instead of pushing exactly what I want, and we'll find a compromise and then move forward.
Yeah. I think that goes for, even new employees entering into the workforce, understanding that the guys that are on their team, although they may not seem somewhat, the most motivated individuals sometimes, it's because they have the most knowledge and have found usually the most efficient way to do things so that they don't have to expend as much energy and time as us younger ones do when we're trying to figure stuff out. And so if some of these younger, that's how I learned when I got into businesses is I just found the guy that had been there longest and I just started asking him questions, right? Realizing that I didn't know everything and they probably had it figured out because they had been there for so long. So leveraging that knowledge that's already there, I think is such a critical aspect. You know, so you've been working in the family business now for a while. We were just talking beforehand. You have some kids. Tell me about that. Do you have any kids that are coming up and interested in also jumping into this business and working for you, or is their path just a little bit different?
So my kids are 5, 3, and under 1. So I got some time.
Whatever work yet?
Yeah. I mean, my 5-year-old is very interested. Every time I got tools in my hand, he wants to help. He tells everybody he wants to be a builder when he grows up. He actually brought to me the other day, if I become a builder, do I have to go to school? And I said, well, it's good to go to school, but that doesn't mean you're not going to have to learn anything, right? Forget about college and all that. I mean, you still got to put in the work.
Yep.
It's not easy to learn this work, right?
Yeah.
And forget about just the work of building something. What about the complete opposite, 180 of that, the business, right? One has nothing to do with the other. And if you don't know both, it's very hard to succeed.
Yep.
But the great mechanic can't always be the great businessman and own the business.
Right.
So you got to have two perspectives.
Yep. No, I mean, that's true. Absolutely. It's funny though, too, because my 6-year-old boy, he follows me around when I'm doing stuff around the house as well. And we were taking off siding of our house. We were residing it. And he goes, I want to be a professional siding remover. I'm like, that's it? You don't want to put it back on? He's like, no, I just want to take it off. I was like, okay. I was like, I don't think you can make a career out of that, but whatever, man. Like, so they got an interesting perspective. So, but yeah, man, it's interesting, family-owned businesses. It seems to me like a lot of that stuff, there's still a lot out there, but it seems like they're, going, further and further away from that, where it's like these private equity companies are coming in, they're taking over and, and buying these companies out. And, so like you guys staying in, second generation, potentially even third generation, is that kind of the legacy and the foundation that you want to build when you officially take over the company? Is that kind of your vision for how you'd like that to grow and continue to grow?
Yeah. I mean, I hope that that's where any one of my three kids want to go. Right. And like I said before, it's not only knowing the trade, it's also knowing the business side of it. And as you grow as a construction company, it is also, legal aspect of it. There's accounting, there's sales, there's a million avenues inside of a construction business where somebody can find their spot and succeed, right? So even if one of the three become a lawyer, I pay a construction lawyer $400 an hour, right? So come do that with us.
Yep.
That's what I hope happens. I mean, my dad gave me, I'll probably give my kids the same option. He said, it's here if you want it. If you don't want it, I'll sell it eventually. Right. That's what he always used to tell me. So I'm glad that I figured out that I wanted it and we're succeeding at doing it.
Yeah. I think to your point, like sometimes you kind of have to go out and find yourself as well before you jump into something too, to, just validate and make sure that is what you eventually want to get into. Right. Because I think jumping into something just because you feel obligated to do it isn't always the best reason to jump into something. So
Yeah. I think that was part of my problem also. And just like, hey, I have to do this. I don't have a choice. If I were to do it different with my kids, I would make them go work somewhere else first. You want to be in construction, go work, go get an internship at a big construction company. Then come here and see what's better. What do you like? Do you like a big corporate culture or you like a smaller family oriented culture where, everybody's looking out for each other and everybody's collaborative and everybody's holding the standard and everybody's trying to learn together. Right. And it would also bring in new perspectives to the company, right? If they go out somewhere else first and then come in.
yeah.
Whether that's good or bad, at least they'll have their own ideas.
Yeah, it's perspective, right? I mean, I don't think ideas are ever inherently good or bad. It's just how you apply them and utilize them is what really influences where they go. You're talking about culture and the way that your guys' company runs right now. How much has that evolved over the years? As things have changed, employment types has changed. You said you're a union shop, so some people frown at that, with the union stuff. They got the negative connotation in some aspects, but I see companies running them successfully. It's like culture has to be a big part of that. So like, how did you guys build a culture that supported, sometimes two clashing ideals? You have your business owner's ideals and the way that you want to do things, and you have the unions. Like, tell me a little bit about how you guys have managed to bridge that successfully.
So the objective is the same, right? I mean, the union member has to work and the contractor needs the work done, right? So the goal is to get the work done on schedule, under budget, so that we can go get more work. So we keep you working. That's what I tell the guys all the time. The guys in the field. We have a symbiotic relationship, right? I need you to perform the work under this time so that we make our profit so we can stay open and go get more work for you to keep working. right? Um, most of our guys, we are signatory with a bunch of unions, from laborers to millwrights to plumbers to operators, everything. So most of our plumbers have been with us 5 years plus. I have that were day one apprentices that are now foremen. I have father and son teams. I have uh, uncle and nephew teams. So the way we are in the office is the same way we are outside. If that was different, it wouldn't work, right? So we don't have an exorbitant amount of people out in the field, and we don't. So we get to pick and choose out of what's available, what fits with us,
Okay.
right? Fit with the culture. You can't stay here. It's very simple.
Sure. At any point in time with like that contract with the union, have you had any issues with that like aspect of like being able to move on from people? Just because they weren't a fit, or is that just kind of one of those things that just kind of understood by everybody and you just go with it?
No, I mean, yeah, we're very clear. We're very upfront, and it's also not for everybody. Like some guys would just leave on their own because it's, hey, I can go to a job with 100 guys on it and disappear somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, instead of being the spotlight's on you,
Right.
to get the work done and get it done right. Yeah, that makes sense, and I suppose in some ways that allows you to have a little bit more. I'm not going to say control, but at least you know the guys that are sticking around and doing it really want to be there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And that's a big piece of it. So, have you guys had, because of the way you're set up at all, has that protected you from some of this, some of the issues that have come up in the blue collar world and some of these other industries with finding good quality help lately? Or are you guys, still able to find and source the workers that you need to stay on top of jobs? Have you had any issues with any of that at all?
So you get what's in the hole. The older guys, they know the deal. They've been around, they know the work. The problem that I'm seeing is the younger generation coming in, the apprentices, are the complete opposite of what they were the generation before. They don't want to learn. They'll stand there until you tell them what to do. It's very different, say nicely, than I came previously. Huh?
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Um, So, and the industry overall nationwide is at a shortage of people, right? Um, and there's two ways of looking at that. The first way is supply and demand. If the labor force is not there, our prices are going to go up because there's going to be no way to do it, right? And then the other side is, well, I can't do as much work because I don't have the people to go do it.
Yep.
So I think there's going to be a balance out between the two where it might slow down because there's not enough labor to actually perform the work, but your margins are going to be higher because supply and demand, right?
Yep. I've been seeing, doing what I do and kind of helping, especially startups, understand structure of their business and really kind of learning a healthy relationship with lending. And that kind of aspect of things. You get a lot of people that reach out to you and just ask questions. And over the last couple months, I've been having a lot of like 18 to 22-year-old kids that have been reaching out and asking me like, hey, what does it take to start up a business? And, kind of what I've been telling them is like, go work for somebody for a little while.
Yeah.
Get some experience, ask questions, get some knowledge. Yeah, you can jump in. It's great. Like I love that you guys want to jump in and do this stuff. And some of it you can, right? Like, I mean, you can jump in and you can run a lawn mowing company, but it's still good to go get experience and work for somebody that's been doing it and be a good worker and ask good questions. And because, I think that's for me a way for them to really get quality experience and good exposure to what it is that they're going to be jumping into. Because if you jump into something too soon without the knowledge behind it, it can make your life absolutely miserable. Have you seen any kind of motivated young kids kind of coming out, applying for jobs that you guys have had, or has it been kind of the similar experience where they've been kind of just, meh, we're here, but whatever?
So like I said, we've had day one apprentices who have become foremen, right? So they are out there. The recent batch of apprentices that came out is night and day from that. Um, Going back to 18, 22-year-old wanting to start your own business, really what you're doing is you're paying yourself for a job, right? You're trading time for money and you're going out to get the work. Are you going to make more money doing that? Maybe. Depends on how many hours you want to put in. So that's the trade-off. You have to get the experience first and know the business end of it to graduate from, a guy in a truck to you getting the work and having other people put it in, right? So now you're leveraging your time. That's for me, that's a business.
Yep.
Otherwise, you just have a job where you pay yourself.
100% agree with that. Then there is a difference. And for that, education comes with a price. It's either you pay for it up front and you learn and spend your time and pay your dues, putting in the hard work and the effort and learning from somebody else who's made the mistakes and already learned from them, or you do it yourself and you pay your education by costly mistakes. And what I've found, and I think what most business owners have found, is that second method usually costs you a lot more than just paying your dues and working for somebody and biding your time and learning.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also the culture now that everybody is an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
It's glorified and all that. And there's really nothing glorious about it. I mean, you got all the stress, you got you got to make payroll, you got to put the time in, right? Um, I mean, is there benefits to it? Is there a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? Maybe, if you put in the right time and you do the right work and you minimize your mistakes and you definitely don't make the same mistake twice. It's rewarding, right? But to definitely try not to pay for school. That's number one. But I mean, the same thing goes for an established business. If you're trying into a new market and you don't do your due diligence or your research, you go in and you lose money on a job. Is that worth it? Will you learn the second time? I hope so. Otherwise, you're going the wrong way.
Yep. Yeah. It's one way or another, you're gonna pay for the knowledge.
Yeah, and you've been in business long enough. It happens. That's how you learn. You just got to be able to recover and continue to keep pushing forward.
Yep. I agree with you.
Mental toughness to get through that. Also,
Yes. That's a common denominator I see in a lot of the business owners that I've chatted with and work with is it is overly glamorized right now. Entrepreneurship, I 100% agree, is overly glamorized. And the one truth that will always stick out as an owner is your business will kick your ass. It'll beat you down. It'll run you over. You're going to have days and weeks where you just are like, man, this sucks. Everything sucks. I want to be done with this. And it's not always fun. And, but it's that mental fortitude. You just kind of keep pushing forward and you go, and I'm going to figure it out. We'll get through this. Yeah, that sucked. I learned these things from it. We'll implement it and we'll move on, and for you guys, for as long as your company's been in business and even moving forward, I'm sure there have been a lot of those moments where it's been like, man, why are we continuing to do this? But you keep doing it, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes you look at the guys that you're employing and say, well, sometimes you make a little bit more than them. Why don't I just go get my tools back on? Right? I got my union card. I can go back and go to work. But those thoughts go away. You gotta keep banging your head against the wall until you break through, and then on the other side is a win, and you celebrate that win for that day, and then you continue banging your head against the wall on the next problem. Keep going forward.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man. One last question as we're kind of running down low on time here. What is I'd say actually, what are the two most important things that you think any new or current business owner needs to know about their business and why?
From the business side of it,
Yeah, business and from just like the
KPIs.
is it? right? Like the two biggest things that like you think everybody needs to have in order to be, successful, or at least know about their business to know if it's being successful. So you could say KPIs, you could say, um, you know, hiring the right coaches, hiring the right mentors, having the right people in place, any of those things. Like what are the two biggest things that you've learned and experienced from other business owners and yourselves that are kind of the lifeblood of your business?
So the one thing, number one, is mental toughness, right? Because you're gonna be, like you said, you're gonna get your ass kicked every day in, day out. Um, and you gotta prepare yourself for that. Whether that for me, it's exercising every day before I go into work, taking cold showers every day, doing hard things outside of the business, so that when not so hard things show up, they don't seem that hard, right? um, and keep pushing through the problem, because eventually that problem is going to go away. You're going to solve it, and you might be one more step before you hockey stick this thing, right? So, mental toughness is number one. Number two is, I don't know about coaches. A big thing for us is the people around us. So our employees that we have, make sure that they're a fit for you, right? And you be the example of what everybody else should be doing. You can't tell somebody to do something that you're not willing to do, right? And that you're not doing yourself every day, because they're not looking at you, say, well, that's, it's bullshit. It doesn't mean anything, right? So be the example that you want everybody else to be. And hopefully you bring the right people around you who will continue that example and show the people under them that example, and they'll show people under them that example. And once you have that core group of people that are living and breathing what you are preaching and showing, um, you have a team around you that's kind of unstoppable. Everybody's focused on one thing, you know, going forward.
Yeah. That last one I think is actually incredibly overlooked in a lot of companies, right? They always talk about KPI, sales metrics, and I've always been one that like your people are indicators of your success. If you have a culture of accountability where if you're not around because you've done those little things every day over and over and over again, that your employees expect that, so that when you bring somebody new in and you're not there, your employees are going to take care of themselves because they all know what the expectations are. That's a superpower that I think sometimes doesn't get leveraged nearly enough in businesses. So that's awesome that you guys have that type of culture and those types of people. That doesn't happen overnight either.
No, it definitely does not happen overnight, and you guys train yourself out first. That's number one. But what it allows you to step away from, uh, you know, with blinders on, looking into the day to day, and allows you to move, take a step out, get a bird's eye view, and focus on the things that's going to push the business forward, right? Because you know that, all right, everybody else is taking care of what they have to take care of. Everybody's holding each other accountable. We're doing the right things. I don't need to focus so much on the little things, because we got that. Let me focus on the big things that's going to take us to the next level.
Yeah. That's got to make your lives easier for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, cool, man. I appreciate you taking time out of your day, and joining me. Like I said, I've been having a lot of fun doing this, and I met some really cool people, and, it's just kind of the reoccurring theme of take action and be mentally tough to be able to handle stuff is just kind of the thing that just kind of keeps coming back through with everybody I talk with. So that's cool that you hit those points.
Yeah. And be the example.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another one that one doesn't come up enough. I don't think, honestly. You're probably one of the first ones that have made that comment as far as like the employee aspect of it, of leading the way that you expect them to do the things, to not give them excuses of like, he didn't do it that way this day, so like we don't have to do it either.
Yep. Because they won't remember that one time you don't do it.
And that is hard. That's probably one of the hardest things you can do. Consistency is one of the hardest things that humans can do.
Yep.
So cool, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate you having me.